Large landmasses make up the planet Earth, which is where all people live. The Earth has the most varied landmass features of all the planets in the solar system. These large landmasses are called continents, making up 1/3 of the world's land area. According to the Pangaea theory, Earth was one ample land that slowly broke into smaller pieces as tectonic plates moved. After the splitting and drifting, which geologists say is still going on, there are 7 big continents where millions of plants, animals, and people live. Antarctica, Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, South America, and North America are all countries on these continents. How many continents does the world have? If you live in the US or gone to school there, you have probably learned that there are 7 continents. But based on the above facts about the continent, many geologists say there are only 6 continents: Africa, Australia, Oceania, Antarctica, North and South America, and Europe and Asia, which they call Eurasia. People in most parts of Europe think there are 6 continents, and students are taught the same thing. This is because Europe and Asia make up one large landmass from a geological point of view. However, most people think of them as 2 separate continents because Russia owns a large part of Asia, and historically, the powers of Western Europe like Germany, France, and Great Britain have kept it politically isolated. Most people agree that there are 7 continents and 5 oceans on Earth, and their position or shape can be found on the globe. A globe with lines for latitude and longitude would be better. Let's go through each of the 7 continents one by one and look at how many countries are on it, what time zone it is in, how many people live in each country, what its geography is like, and what its most prominent and smallest countries are. Number 7. North American continent. The entire North American continent is found in the Northern Hemisphere. Its eastern border is the Atlantic Ocean, its northern border is the Arctic Ocean, its western and southern borders are the Pacific Ocean, and its southeastern border is the Caribbean Sea and South America. It accounts for about 16.5% of all landmass on Earth, but just 4.8% of its surface. At about 7.5% of the world's total, North America is home to nearly 565 million people. It has the 3rd largest land area and the 4th largest human population of any continent. The Americas, Mexico, Canada, and Greenland control many continents. Number 6. Antarctica continent. Antarctica is the world's southernmost continent. It has a land area of about 1.30 million square kilometers. Antarctica is the coldest continent in the world. It is at the South Pole and is completely covered with ice. Sometimes it gets down to -130 or -90 OC. Because of the harsh weather, there aren't many people living in Antarctica, and no one lives there permanently. Only scientists keep research stations here. Antarctica is more significant than Europe in terms of size. Antarctica could be in any of the standard time zones. However, during the June and December solstices, the days and nights are very different in the southern part of the Antarctic Circle. This makes it hard to say which time zone would be right here. Number 5. South America continent. South America is in the Western Hemisphere, with most of its landmass in the Southern Hemisphere and a small part in the Northern Hemisphere. The Pacific Ocean surrounds it on the west, the Atlantic Ocean on the east and north, the Caribbean Sea on the northwest, and North America on the southwest. It has a population of about 406 million people and is the 4th largest continent by land area and the 5th largest population. South America is a subcontinent of America that has 12 states. It has a wide variety of plants, animals, and geographical features. This continent is also home to the Atacama Desert, which is the driest place on Earth but is not a desert. It also has a lot of different kinds of plants and animals like piranhas, anacondas, and jaguars. Brazil is the biggest country in South America. It has more than half of the population and land area of the continent. Most of South America's people live on the east and west coasts. Other areas have few people living there. Number 4. Australia continent or Oceania continent. Australia is the world's smallest continent, and the Southern Pacific and Indian Oceans surround it. It includes the Australian mainland, large islands like Tasmania, New Zealand, New Guinea, and many smaller tropical islands. Australia is the largest country on the continent, taking up about 86% of the land area. On the other hand, Nauru is so small that it takes less than an hour to drive around the country. Australian continent or Oceanic continent, which has a population of more than 4.2 crores, uses 3 standard time zones. Number 3. Europe continent. Europe is the 2nd smallest continent of the 7. It is made up of the western peninsula of the enormous land area of Eurasia. Europe takes up 2% of the Earth's surface and 6.8% of the Earth's total land mass. Europe is the 3rd most populated continent and comprises about 50 countries. Russia is the biggest country in Europe, covering about 40% of the continent's land area. The Caucasus and the Ural Mountains, the Caspian Sea, the Black Sea, the Ural River, and the waterways that connect the Aegean Sea and the Black Sea separate Europe from Asia. The Mediterranean Sea is to the south of Europe, the Atlantic Ocean is to the west, and the Arctic Ocean is to the north. Europe is mainly linked to the rise of Western culture, civilization, and the Industrial Revolution. Number 2. Africa continent. Africa is surrounded by water on all sides, and its borders are transparent. In the north, the Mediterranean Sea separates it from Europe. The Red Sea and the Suez Canal separate it from Asia in the northeast. From the south and southeast, it is surrounded by the Indian Ocean, and from the west, it is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. Africa is the second largest continent in the world. It has 54 independent countries, which is the most of any continent. Egypt is a country in Africa, but some of its lands are in Asia on the other side of the Suez Canal. Algeria is the biggest country in Africa. It covers about 7% of the continent's land area. Seychelles, a famous luxury beach vacation spot, is the smallest. Number 1. Asia continent. Asia is the biggest continent and takes up about 9% of the surface of the Earth. It has about 4.3 billion people, which makes it the continent with the most people. Because of this, the Asian population significantly impacts the world economy. Asia is in the eastern and northern hemispheres of the Earth, and it takes up about 30% of the total land area of the Earth. From what we know about history, the first people on Earth came from the Asian continent. So according to history, 60% of the world's people used to live on the Asian continent. The Asian continent has densely populated settlements, with some regions barely populated. There is no clear geographical line between Asia and Europe, so it is hard to tell where the borders of Asia are. The extensive land mass made by these two continents is called Eurasia. On the northern side of Asia are the polar regions ocean, the Indian Ocean to the south, and the Pacific East Asian Ocean. The Asian continent is popular and widely known for its wide variety of ethnic organizations, history, economics, environments, culture, and governmental institutions. When it comes to the study of the number of continents, we need to be aware of the fact that the precise number, as well as the language that is used about that topic, is subject to change as the scientific community brings forward newer perspectives. Even if we should always be willing to recognize any possible differences, we nonetheless need to do our job by today's scientific consensus. There are 7 different continents on Earth, according to scientific consensus. However, to make the study of geography more manageable, geographers have separated the world into 8 distinct regions: Asia, Europe, North America, the Middle East, North Africa, Central America and the Caribbean, Africa, South America, Australia, and Oceania. So that's all for today's video. If you like this video, click the like and the bell buttons. We'll have another video for you soon. Take care until then.